Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Professor Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Chinese New Year will not be the same for the 11 million inhabitants of the Chinese city of Wuhan, the epicenter of a new coronavirus outbreak. The city is in lockdown, no one is coming in or going out. The Chinese government locked down the city of Wuhan as health officials around the world scramble to prevent a global pandemic. The 11 million inhabitants of the city will now have to remain where they are.
No, it's a coronavirus. It likely is going to act somewhat similar to SARS. We don't know how much similar. It has similarity in its genetic makeup. Each day goes by, we learn more. Like just a little while ago, we became very clear that it's transmitted from person to person.
Wuhan's local government said it would shut down all urban transport networks and suspend outgoing flights from the city on Thursday and urged citizens to not leave the city in the absence of special circumstances. The local government has also stepped up disinfection efforts and the pandemic prevention measures to curb the disease. Sanitation workers and community staff are mobilized to disinfect the city's streets, shops and markets. Authorities have confirmed close to 600 cases and 17 deaths by the end of Wednesday. The casualties so far are mostly older men with existing health problems. There is no vaccine for the virus, which can be spread through respiratory transmission. Preliminary research suggests that the virus was passed on to humans from snakes, but the government medical advisor, Zhang Nanshan, has also identified badgers and rats as possible sources. So far, cases have been confirmed in Thailand, Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, the United States and Hong Kong. So what do we know about the new coronavirus and what can we do about it? The World Health Organization has convened a meeting today and will decide on whether to declare the new coronavirus outbreak a global health emergency, which would step up international response.
The decision about whether or not to declare a public health emergency of international concern is one I take extremely seriously and one I'm only prepared to make with appropriate consideration of all the evidence.
If it does so, it will be the 6th international public health emergency to be declared in the last decade. In China, authorities were trying to determine the origin of the new coronavirus. They said that it is believed to have emerged last year from illegal traded wildlife at an animal market in the city. They said the symptoms of the virus include fever, difficulty in breathing, cough, and can cause pneumonia. They added that it can spread from one person to another via respiratory transmission. Around the world, health authorities fear the transmission rate will accelerate as hundreds of millions of Chinese travel at home and abroad during the week-long Lunar New Year holiday. Wuhan, a city of about 11 million people, is a transportation hub as well as central China's main industrial and commercial center. Many airports globally have stepped up screening of passengers from China. Malaysians love online shopping, but perhaps an influenza A vaccine should be one of those things you don't buy online. With the death toll from the Wuhan coronavirus on the rise, people are feeling a little desperate to get vaccinated. And with private hospitals facing a shortage, people may be getting a little creative as well. However, the Health Ministry has warned against acquiring influenza A vaccines online. Deputy Health Minister Lee Boon Chye was quoted by the Malaysian Insight as saying that the ministry has never approved the sale of vaccines online. Lee pointed out a couple of issues when buying it online. One, it could be expired. Two, it could be a counterfeit. As vaccines are produced according to the specific strand of the virus at the time, vaccines manufactured a year ago may be ineffective now due to potential mutations. Shockingly, a Facebook post by a 24-hour clinic in Bangi revealed that there have been cases where parents would ask doctors to inject their children with vaccines bought online. The clinic said many people have requested similar services, but stressed that it would not use vaccines from unknown origins for its patients. The coronavirus has the potential of turning into something ugly, but there's already something in Malaysia that has claimed 60 lives in just 4 days. On the 4th day of Op Selamat 16-2020, a total of 57 fatal accidents were recorded, and from that, 60 people have been killed. Police say the highest deaths involve motorcyclists and pillion riders. Bukit Aman Traffic Investigation and Enforcement Department Director Azizman Alias said a total of over 6,000 accidents were recorded in 4 days nationwide, with Selangor alone contributing more than 30% of the accidents. So far, the police have issued close to 100,000 summonses. Most of it were namely for using a mobile phone while driving, flaunting traffic lights, driving over the speed limit, driving on emergency lanes, cutting queues and cutting double lines. The Op Selamat 16-2020 was launched in conjunction with the Chinese New Year celebration and will continue until February 1st. It's day 73 of the criminal trial of former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak involving the alleged misappropriation of funds from SRC International Sendirian Berhad. Let's take a look at what happened at the Kuala Lumpur High Court today. Former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak testified today that he could not provide a reason why anyone would transfer 42 million ringgit into his bank account. Najib said this during cross-examination by Deputy Public Prosecutor W. Sitambaram. Najib said, quote, "I do not know. I never authorized that money transfer." The prosecutor asked Najib why Insan Perdana Sendirian Berhad Managing Director Shamsul Anwar Sulaiman was not informed about a transfer from IPSB into Najib's account, which was an undisclosed account. Najib also disagreed with the prosecution's suggestion that all funds that came into his 5 AmBank accounts between 2011 and 2015 were for his personal benefit. Instead, he testified the funds were also used to help the poor. Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index, or CPI, for 2019 is here. Would you like to know how well Malaysia did this year? Well, that's not all bad news after all. Malaysia ranked 61 in Transparency International's Corruption Perception Index, or CPI, for 2018 and continued to strengthen its position in 2019, ranking 51 in the latest index. This is Malaysia's highest score on the CPI since 2012.
Now let's look at ASEAN. Comparison in ASEAN. Now, as you know, in ASEAN, the best is still Singapore, scoring 85 points, ranking 4. They came down 1 position compared to 2018. Brunei also has dropped, but Malaysia has gone up from 61 to 51. All right. So, and of course, Indonesia is far away behind us.
Among its ASEAN neighbours, Malaysia comes up behind Singapore and Brunei, ranked 4th and 35th, respectively. However, Malaysia is ahead of other ASEAN countries, with the next closest being Indonesia at the 85th spot.
We make a comparison simply because we also want to be the best. If not today, inshallah, one day we will be the best example among Islamic countries. All right. Now, if you see among the Islamic countries, top, I've put this in the order of that number 1 and number 2 and number 3. So you can see UAE is the top with 71% score and a ranking of 21. And Qatar comes second at the position of 30.
According to Transparency International, Malaysia's score took a hit previously due to the 1MDB scandal. Meanwhile, the improvement in Malaysia's score in 2019 is most likely attributed to the change in government and the new government's commitment to combating corruption. Coming up next, Harvey Weinstein's trial finally kicks off. Even if you're the wealthiest person on earth, behind one of the most valuable tech companies, your phone could still be hacked. All that and more after this. The rape trial of former Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein is underway. This is the case that inspired the whole Me Too movement.
Harvey, how are you feeling this morning, Harvey?
Better.
You feeling better?
Yeah.
You feel like you'll have a fair trial, Harvey?
Of course.
Former Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein gave confident remarks as he walked into court this morning for opening statements on his criminal trial. During opening statements in the high-profile rape case, New York prosecutors accused Weinstein of committing violent attacks on aspiring actresses. Weinstein has pleaded not guilty to the charges of assaulting 2 women, Mimi Haleyi in 2006 and Jessica Mann in 2013. He could face life in prison if convicted of the most serious charge, being predatory sexual assault. The trial is a crucial moment for the #MeToo movement, in which women have gone public with allegations against powerful men in business and politics. Since 2017, more than 80 women, including many famous actresses, have accused Weinstein of sexual misconduct. Weinstein has denied the allegations and said any sexual encounters were consensual.
If you're worth over $100 billion, some people may be interested in tapping your phone calls, especially if you own the newspaper Jamal Khashoggi used to write for. Some people may be very interested. Saudi Prince Mohammed bin Salman hit back at reports he tried to hack the phone of Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. On Wednesday, the prince denied the allegations, calling the claim absurd. The denial came after The Guardian said the billionaire's phone was hacked in 2018 after receiving a WhatsApp message. The newspaper cited sources who say the message contained a malicious file and came from an account used by Saudi's crown prince. The hacking allegations come after the murder of Jamal Khashoggi, a Saudi journalist and a Washington Post columnist. Bezos owns the Washington Post, and he has alluded to the Saudi government's displeasure of the newspaper's coverage of Khashoggi's murder. Bezos' security chief also accused the Saudi government of accessing private information from Bezos' phone. Saudi officials dismissed the allegations as absurd. And here are several other news highlights from today. And that is all from us today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching. But before we go, we leave you with some visuals of the festivities in China ahead of the Chinese New Year.